It's been drilled into pool players' heads to focus all their energy on the aiming point of the cue ball and hitting the cue ball where you're aiming on the cue ball. And that's great, they should be doing that. But they're not focusing enough energy or any energy at all on where the tip is ending up after the shot. And that is going to analyze your stroke and tell you everything you need to know. Back in the old days, I was at a tournament somewhere in Florida. I think it was Tampa. And I got there early, and I was watching some of the, biggest players in the world warm up. And I noticed a couple of them warming up the same way, and they were really paying attention to where their stroke was ending up after they shot. And I took that over the years, I processed that information, and I turned it into a habit in my own pool game, and I'll do it while I'm playing. And so these guys weren't really paying much attention at all to if they made the ball, if they got position, or whatever. They would freeze and pay strict attention to where the tip of their cue was after their shot. And I figured out just by doing it to myself, because I didn't know really what the hell they were doing, that this is how the greatest players in the world analyze the straightness of their stroke. So it's not really where you're hitting on the cue ball. I mean, although that's, vital too, of course. And of course you have your backswing, and then, shooting straight into the cue ball, and then your follow through. So you can't really analyze your follow through if you're paying 100% attention to where the object ball is going and where the cue ball is going. So that's it. That's how you tell if your stroke is straight or not straight. It's in where. You find the line, you get down on the line, and none of it matters if your Q-tip is going off line all the way through the shot, from the backswing through the key ball to the end of the shot. And here's what happens when you pay too much attention to the shot and you're not really paying any attention to your stroke. And you're probably thinking, well, what the hell's wrong with that? And I want to show you what was wrong with that. And this time we're not going to zoom in on the shot, and I'm going to pause it at the end. And I want you to pay strict attention to my head. Watch my head on this shot. And I'm going to loop it back a couple times. See how I'm watching the 8-ball, and I'm seeing if I make the shot. So, because I have such an ingrained habit of keeping my cue down on the table after the shot, which is the right thing to do, it's the correct way to do it, there's no other way to really analyze your stroke. I did it this time, but I looked away. I was looking at the shot like a railbird, and there's no need to do that. If you take another look at me shooting this shot, you'll see my whole head turning to see if I made the shot. Now, if my eyes were here, which is where they were supposed to be, I would have saw that I needed to move the cue out of the way real quick, otherwise I'm going to foul. And I wind up fouling, and if my opponent can play, they're going to kick my ass in this game. And at this point in the shot, my eyes are in the right spot. They're exactly where they should be, but as soon as I hit the 8-ball, I look over and to see if I made this shot when I shouldn't have done that. My eyes should still be in this position right here, and focused right here. Through the hitting of the 8-ball, the bounce off the rail, and making the 8-ball, they should still be focused right here. And we're going to go ahead and watch that one last time, and in real time without the slow motion or the zooming or anything like that. And as you know, you should never be in this position, especially on the 8-ball. And I'll show you how I screwed this game up and got in this position before this video is over. And really, guys, there's no such thing as an okay stroke or an average stroke. It's either good or it's bad. That's it. Now, that's not to say that you can't make balls with a bad stroke, but what you're doing is compensating for your bad stroke by misaiming it, or, doing something with your body, like, tucking your elbow in or twisting your wrist, or just you have a bad stance. Something has given. If you have a bad stroke and you're making balls, number one, it's almost impossible to be consistent like that. I mean, it's possible, but you're never going to be a really high-level player unless you get the basics of the stroke right and straight. So yeah, they fix their flawed stroke by adjusting something else, and it's a subconscious thing. So what players do is they miss a straight-in shot 1,000 times in a row, and then they discover, well, if I tuck my wrist in like this, I make it. And then they turn that into a habit, and then you have to compensate something else for your tucked-in wrist, and it just becomes a train wreck. So players come at me in the forums all the time, and they ask for help in their game, and I'm happy to help them if I can. And 9 times out of 10, I wind up telling them, you have to fix your stroke. Your stroke is not good. And then, of course, I have to follow that up by saying, first you have to, get your wrist in alignment. You have to straighten out your stance, and ultimately you have to fix your stroke. And they don't do it because, when they fix those things, they go back to missing. And just because they're not used, their bodies aren't used to a straight stroke, so they go back to their comfort zone, and most of them, just never get there. I saw John Moore lose the finals of a tournament, and he knew that his stroke failed him at some point. And the tournament's over, and they're just, they're giving out the money, cleaning up, and all that stuff. And John sat there for almost an hour, not shooting any balls, just using the line between the cushion and the top of the rail to analyze his stroke. And he just over and over and over, he's just stroking back and forth and back and forth for over an hour. I'm like, man, don't this guy's back hurt? And they were cleaning up around him. Everybody left. Everyone's gone home. People went to the bar. They're drinking. They're doing their lives. And John is still standing there like an hour later. He's like, John, what the hell are you doing? And he was trying to figure out where his stroke fell. So my point is the top players know they, to analyze their strokes when their game fails. And, mediocre to bad players don't do this. They don't understand how vital. I mean, if your stroke is bad, no matter how much you practice or what you do, your game is never going to be consistent. So the first thing you have to do is get a straight stroke. Then work on, what you want to work on in drills, or just go out and play and play and play. And if all your basics are right and your stroke is straight, you're good to go, buddy. And as promised, we're going to give this a little bit of our analytical minds and see how I got so bad on that 8-ball. And I'm taking the solids here, and the first 2 balls I don't see much of a problem. Let's see what I do to get on this 1 ball. Yeah. Alright, well, I had to use that 13 as a stopper, but I'm just going to the rail and bouncing off. And see, I hit that 14 right there, which made things difficult on this 1 ball. So from here, we have a ball in front of the side pocket, but I have to take care of this one ball now while I have a chance to do it. And that wasn't the greatest stroke, but I was jacked up and I had to get my cue out of the way. A lot of guys would go down to the end round this shot, and I just want to get up behind the other object ball, which I think is a 6. No, I'm shooting a 6 now. It's a 5 ball. So I'm getting on the short side of the 5 ball, and a lot of people don't see that shot because they're always trying to get on the long side of the object ball. So things aren't looking perfect right here, and I got a bad angle on the 4, so I have to go to the side rail. And the mistake I made here was putting bottom on it, which wound up drawing it back down table. So now I'm bad on the key ball, which is a 3, and I have to bank it. That's not what I wanted to do. I just wanted to cut it in and go a natural 3 growls back out on the 8, and everything would have been fine. But I just went too far down table on the ball before the key ball. So I think I'm a little irked at myself, and I'm trying to redeem myself there. And we know the rest of the story. I turned my head to watch the ball and wound up fouling and getting my ass kicked again. I'll be posting a lot more 8-ball videos and 9-ball videos, and even, believe it or not, a 1-pocket video coming up. Yep, a 1-pocket video. I've actually made an archive of 1-pocket videos because no one, where I play pool wants to play any more 9-ball with me or 8-ball. And, the game stopped coming in. I think I just gave them all a bad association. And so I'm like, all right, let's play 1-pocket. And they're like, okay. And I've been kicking their asses in that too. They think they're smarter than me, but every 1-pocket player thinks that. Anyway, guys, peace, man.